Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to your Daily Penguin. It's our tour through my Penguin Classic wall, book by book and author by author, embracing the random as it has come our way, although lately I have decided to impose non-randomness on this whole thing. Oh, hello, Bean. Do you want to see your fans? Huh? Oh, here they all are. Oh, Stu's the little baby. Huh? A little stuff on your mouth. You been eating? Yeah, haven't you? Haven't you? You've been eating. Oh. We were walking yesterday in a new neighborhood, and we saw coming towards us on the sidewalk a cat. Cats are as big as Frida is. They're as tall as she is. A lot of them are as massive as she is. It was just walking straight towards us. Wasn't acting alarmed or cautious at all. Frida stopped and just sort of stared at it. She's not aggressive. She typically won't bark or growl. She only growls at people when she wants them to pet her. She growls at humans. But the cat just kept coming. I didn't know what to do. And eventually it walked right up to Frida and sort of brushed its chest against her, purring, and then brushed itself against her shoulder. She was just standing there like, she was so outraged that she couldn't even muster her usual "how dare you." And then it laid down on the sidewalk and started rolling around on its back directly in front of her, in front of a dog. She was dumbfounded, and so was I. But she seems to have recovered from it. But anyway, the point that I was trying to make is that I have imposed a little bit of order on these the penguins that we've been choosing lately. For the last week of October, I picked out Victorian masterpieces in honor of Victober, a great booktube event that celebrates the literature of the Victorian period. And in November, we are in the midst of another great booktube event, Nonfiction November, hosted by Olive at the Book Olive and a bunch of other great hosts, in which nonfiction is given its day in the sun with the hope that people will read more of it. I've been very happy to see, thanks to Olive's ministrations in the last few years, how many of you have given nonfiction a try and found that it isn't a boogeyman at all, that it's actually very enjoyable. And I have heard from a lot of people, if you watch Hannah's books, for instance, you will know that on her channel she has discovered in the course of the pandemic that nonfiction has been answering a reading need for her that she didn't expect it. But maybe at the beginning of the pandemic she might have expected that her reading needs would all be escapist into fiction. But instead, nonfiction has been satisfying. And I've heard that a variation of that from a number of people who, what can we do for the light here? Who are finding that in the course of 2020 that they're enjoying nonfiction a lot. That's fantastic. And so for Nonfiction November, I thought, since we're not going to be able to finish all of the rest of the Penguin Classics in the months that we have left, in the days that we have left in 2020, I thought I would concentrate for November on nonfiction. We'll do some fiction, I'm sure. But today is a perfect example. Today we have the letters of Mary Montagu, who wrote throughout most of the first half of the 18th century and wrote a whole bunch of kinds of things. This is a selection of letters, of Lady Mary's letters. But she also included in this volume is edited by Isabel Grundy, and included in this volume is a whole bunch of other stuff too, of other writings that Lady Mary did. She did dispatches when she was the wife of a diplomat. She did pamphlets and nonfiction sketches of one kind or another. All of them fantastically readable, although none so readable as her letters. Her letters are her crowning glory, and this selection covers letters from across her whole life, starting when she was very young and deeply in love. Not with Mr. Montagu. She was deeply in love with him. They have a love story that, oh my God, it's like something out of a novel. But he wasn't her first love. Her first love was books. And it was a deep love. She taught herself how to read Latin. She found a vocabulary book, an exercise book, and a grammar book, and taught herself how to read the language. And a whole bunch of other things too. She read voraciously for her whole life. And you can tell, I think, when you read her letters. You can always tell when you're in the presence of a reader, especially on the written page. But these things are amazing. They are a perfect example of what I talk about when I talk about the ability of nonfiction to just close the gap completely between the reader and a sometimes alien time or place in a way that fiction can't. Fiction tends to broaden that gap. Imagine what a novel about Lady Mary would be like. There probably are some that I don't know about. In fact, I would like to know if there were novels about Lady Mary. I should try and research that and see if it's true. Certainly, her story is worth it. Her courtship with the man who would later become her husband was so contentious that her father, her guardians, her family threatened everything. They threatened to completely disown her and marry her to someone else that she didn't like. She told her beau that he would have to accept her in her nightgown. With no other expectations. He would have to take her on her terms. That kind of fierce individuality is all through these letters. They're amazing. They are the furthest thing in the world from dusty old period pieces as you could get. I don't know if Penguin, this is the old style Penguin with the banner on top. I don't know if they make this anymore. I'm assuming that they do. It'd be great if they did. Be great. If I remember correctly, Isabel Grundy's introduction and notes are fantastic for this volume. But really, the thing that's going to captivate you is Lady Mary herself. She was a devoted mother, a devoted wife. She became an object of scorn, frequent satirical ridicule, and also battles of wits with Alexander Pope. And it features prominently in more or less disguised terms in a number of his poems. She was, in other words, a very prominent part of the intellectual life of her day, which was an amazing period for intellectual life, just full stop. Always on the equal terms with the men, which is amazing. So this is your Penguin Classic for today is a recommend if you want to make the acquaintance of a truly remarkable woman in the course of English letters. You need look no further than Lady Mary. So that is your Penguin for today. And we will be back tomorrow, I hope, and we will see what more nonfiction we can find. There's plenty more, so I don't think we're in any danger of running out. I will intersperse things in the course of the month. I'll put in a few notes of fiction here and there, but it'll be mostly nonfiction, so who knows what we'll find tomorrow. But in the meantime, I'll wrap this up for now, and I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.